My day starts early as I cross a frozen wetland. My destination is a remote, open area, regularly patrolled by crows. Because I dragged a couple of roadkill deer in, for whoever might be interested. The spring thaw has already teased the landscape, as frozen otter belly slides are still visible on a beaver pond after a recent thaw. This is a regular run for wolves too. There's little doubt that these downed deer would attract scavengers. But this winter, it made quite an impression on our local population of rough-legged hawks. If that's due to a lower rodent population, I can't say, because they are still here in numbers. But roughlegs are buteo hawks, opportunists that take a serious interest in carrion. During their breeding season, rough-legged hawks can be found across the vast open landscapes of Arctic and subarctic tundra. They share this habitat with snowy owls and hunt much of the same prey, especially lemmings. Although rough-legged hawks can sometimes be larger than red-tailed hawks, they are mouse specialists because of their small feet, whereas red-tails have large feet and take a wider variety of prey. With the onset of winter, roughlegs migrate down into southern Canada and across a good portion of the United States. On their wintering grounds, these hawks, like so many other hunters, set their sights on voles. And if nature cooperates, vole numbers can explode. After all, female voles can reach sexual maturity only 20 to 30 days after birth and can easily produce 8 litters a year. And who can resist a nice plump vole? So rough leghawks can be seen hovering over open country much of the time, intently focused on any possibilities below. They might also glide low over the ground, like harriers. Or scan the area from a higher perch. Usually, you can find them clinging to smaller branches near the tops of trees. This early morning hunter will, of course, keep its eyes open for any small delicious rodents. But the possibility of grabbing an unsuspecting prairie chicken as they dance and spar for the favor of hens wandering through the lek surely has their interest. Although they have small feet, roughlegs do occasionally take medium-sized prey, such as squirrels, gophers, and where they're available, ptarmigan. Back at the winter site, a hen harrier crisscrosses the lowland. This light morph roughleg sees it too. This hawk spends a fair amount of time here. Or does it? I've seen other roughlegs here that very closely resemble this one, and they can be difficult to tell apart, as roughlegs display a tremendous variation in color and patterns. This noisy crow, perched in between two roughlegs, bellows out its apparent disapproval. But who is it upset with? The hawks? Or other crows that won't share and keep pushing each other away? The other roughleg hawk assesses the situation too. With its light-colored head and broad, dark belly band, this one looks to be a juvenile and is possibly having a difficult time finding a spot at the dinner table. One thing's for sure, There are plenty of crows coming and going behind my blind. So when this light morphed adult is feeding, everyone else waits. This juvenile, it appears, has waited long enough for its chance at a carcass. But for all I know, it has already fed on voles and isn't that hungry. So while one goes, another comes in. This time, a dark morph roughleg looks everything over. A few perches over, the other hawk is still waiting and keeps an eye on the new arrival. There's still an unoccupied deer carcass. Then, the dark roughleg decides to go for it. The hawk that has command of this carcass climbs up onto the deer, revealing his fully feathered legs, which gives them their name. It's all a bit too much for the dark morph. This handsome hawk, though, appears to have things under control. And checks out the dark roughleg, now watching from a safe distance. Unable to get to the carcass, this crow does the next best thing and retrieves some food stashed away for moments just like this. This light morph hawk has a distinct dark band under its tail. It could be a juvenile, but with its crisp, high contrast markings, has the look of an adult female. Whatever the case, the situation on the site is still the same. It's time to go for this hawk. As evening approaches, most birds think about roosting. With nothing going on, I decide to leave too. The next day, sleet covers the area. There were no hawks today at all. Several days went by. When I returned to spend some time, I focused on a rib cage that was brought in while I was gone. Another light morph roughleg drops onto the rib cage. It looks like another adult male, dark head, streaked leg feathers, and tail. But it wasn't alone. And when the other hawk came in, this one acted like it needed to mantle this food source, claiming it as his own. But he never fully went into the mantling posture, as things quickly cooled down once the intruder landed. So while I'm focusing on these two beautiful light-phased hawks, another roughleg drops in. This striking, dark-morphed adult, with deep dark eyes and a streaked tail, quietly observes from a distance, unwilling to take a closer look at any of the deer. Another look at the earlier dark morph. It's just another day in the hawk world for this one, as he gets all he can from this food source. Sometime later, after both of the other hawks were gone, the ribcage was left open to other interested feeders. One thing about the crows, they always fill the gaps in between the hawks. So it's been a good winter for spotting rough-legged hawks in this part of Wisconsin. Eight different roughlegs that I know of visited this late winter deer site, including all our Corvus friends. The hawks hung around to get all they could from these deer in between hunting for voles. But as daylight increased with the advancing season, the hawks moved on, back north to their Arctic summer range. As for the possibility of attracting wolves, their tracks showed that they never got closer than 30 feet from the deer. Several of them standing along their invisible line that would allow them to come no closer. But the coyotes did come in to help themselves, all under the cover of darkness.